In a few moments, I will sign the North American Free Trade Act into law. NAFTA will tear down trade barriers between our three nations. It will create the world's largest trade zone and create 200,000 jobs in this country by 1995 alone.
Get used to the name Newt Gingrich. He's in line to be the first Republican Speaker of the House since 1954. He will have sweeping control over Congress. With enough Democrats crossing over to vote with the GOP, he could command 2/3 of the House. And he wants to change the political landscape in this country in 100 days' time.
Too many of the issues that were being brought forward through that era were issues that were very detrimental to working families, in particular detrimental to our members. And we concluded, rather than simply showing up in Washington to try to make our case or making financial donations to elected officials, the most influence we would have is by educating our members.
Well, in 1994 we had what's been referred to as the Republican Revolution, led by Newt Gingrich and the conservative right. They were intent upon driving unions out of existence, and they were coming full bore after all of us.
We don't need another trade agreement that goes through on fast track. And we're here today to tell Congress, we're here today to tell Newt Gingrich, we're here today to tell President Clinton, we don't need another NAFTA.
If a trade deal is going to be negotiated and it's going to be voted on, and hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of American jobs are at stake, it should at least be open for debate.
You sent over 160,000 letters and messages, handwritten messages, from the industrial center of America to Congress, letting them know how you felt about it. That's what happened. You made tens of thousands of phone calls, and you lobbied en masse here in Washington, and you scared them off a fast track.
The notes, the phone calls, the rallies, the marches, on and on we fought this thing. Until we were finally able to knock it back. There were more than 1,200 steelworkers in the streets of Seattle protesting against the WTO, the World Trade Organization. And they were there, they were rapid response activists. They were there for a rapid response meeting and then into the streets of Seattle for demonstrations against the WTO. Other trade deals were being thrown around, and nobody had ever heard of the WTO until the Steelworkers Rapid Response Network decided it was time to expose this thing. It was an amazing show of rapid response's determination, and it set the tone for the next 10 years of trade battles.
Permanent normal trade relations with China, at the time viewed by most as not a big deal, should be something that should be done, but our union, unlike most, understood what that meant.
We protested. We held a candlelight vigil outside the White House in Lafayette Park, right in earshot of the President of the United States. We walked the halls of Congress again and again. We met legislators back in their district. We wrote hundreds of thousands of notes to legislators. We made calls. We were there when the vote happened, and they passed it. Free Trade Area of the Americas, or FTAA, came along. NAFTA on steroids, NAFTA for the entire Western Hemisphere. We just said, you know, there's just no way that we can allow this to become law.
We, the people of the Americas, in order to form a more perfect union, must say no to the FTAA, and we will.
And then with the merger of PACE into the United Steelworkers, we had a new invigorated program. We had 350,000 new steelworkers. We went to bat. We went to Miami. We faced them face to face in the town where they were doing the deal.
They can do whatever they want with the guns, but they will not stop our movement. They will not stop us from getting the justice that we deserve.
We were pushed around, but we were never pushed away, and we just wouldn't back down. And, you know, because of that, today, there is no FTAA. The fight for the Employee Free Choice Act is a fight for our very survival. We have to find a way to push this forward. And Rapid Response now has been fighting for this for more than 6 years. From day one, we saw this as, you know, the answer to the problems workers have when they try to form a union.
Every worker ought to have the right to join a union. Every worker ought to have the right to have a retirement. Every worker ought to have the right to have a safe place to work. And every worker's family ought to have a pension.
People are watching what we do. Our activists have been the ones to lead this fight from day one, and that's not going to change.
But the great thing about our union and Rapid Response is we never quit.
Rapid Response will continue to be a model that other unions try to replicate because it is the most effective mobilization education program in the entire labor movement and arguably in the entire social justice movement.
That Rapid Response has the capacity to change people's vision, change people's mind, and to change their vote.
Rapid Response is indeed the activism of our union. Without the voice, without the collective voice of a progressive organization fighting for workers' rights, they won't be maintained. So everything that we do, everything that you do, is absolutely critical to the success of our program, to the success of our union, and to the success of our nation.
The person that the member is more than likely going to trust and support is their co-worker who understands the issue. They don't know who Leo Gerard is from a hole in the ground, but they know who their Rapid Response person is, and if people are silent and sit on their hands and don't get engaged, then we get ignored. We have the capacity to make a difference. And as George Becker used to say, we have real power when our members are active and engaged in taking part in the debate. Activism converts itself to real power for real people. And so that's my message. If you're active now, stay active. If you're not active enough, get more active. And if you're not active at all, figure out how to get active. And Rapid Response is the perfect vehicle for that.